let's go to the bottom there. Let's go to the Chiefs and the LA Chargers, who somehow won last week despite Justin Herbert getting sacked 5 times, and they only had 187 yards of offense in Atlanta. Those are the backwards numbers they were just talking about with the Falcons defense. The Chargers offense and the Chargers in the win column were eventually the beneficiary of those. The Chargers right now are the 5 seed. They're a wild card in the AFC West. The Chiefs, as you know, 11-1, the 1 seed, home field advantage for now in the AFC. This is a rematch from week 4. It was in LA. The Chiefs won 17-10. This may shock you. It won't. They were down 10-0 in that game. And it was a Chiefs, of course. It was a Chiefs comeback victory. They're already in the postseason. They would clinch their 9th straight AFC West if they beat the Chargers in this one in Kansas City. They have 9 comeback victories this year. 9. Not only is it more than any other team in the NFL in 2024, it is more than any other team had in 17 weeks, or rather 18 weeks and 17 games last season. So they already have more comeback wins this year than any team had in the entirety of last season. Mahomes has 6 game-winning drives in the fourth quarter or in overtime this year. 6. Nobody else has more than 3. So I am all on Team Harbaugh with motivating his guys. Both Ladd McConkey banged up, even though I think it's really cute that he gave everyone, did you see, Sam, a lunch bucket this week?
I didn't see the bucket.
He gave every Charger a lunch bucket, or like a lunch box, right?
A lunch pail.
A lunch box. Like, we're old enough where we used to go to school with the metal lunch box.
Yeah, lunch
Not
pail.
the plastic
Yeah,
one.
absolutely.
The metal lunch box.
Yeah.
Right? With those clasps on the top that somehow that would often pinch your hand.
Oh, it hurt. Yeah.
Because they were actual metal, like my grandfather used to have on his workbench in the basement. Right? He gave everyone a lunchbox, which is cute. It's going to work for at least a year, maybe 2. And then eventually you're going to have guys go, you gave me a lunchbox.
That's like something to remember.
It's like from Swingers. Like, I'm supposed to be impressed that she's got a backpack.
She's wearing a backpack.
Right.
It's a good memento.
Right.
I mean,
different era.
That's a great line.
Era.
It's a great line, though. It's a great line.
But it's true. He gave them lunchboxes. Whatever Harbaugh is doing, God bless him, it's working.
And Ladd McConkey, as if he's not adorable enough, that is cute. I mean, he almost looks like the big head, the fat heads with the helmet running around on the small figurine. McConkey sort of looks like that running around on the field, but he has been, especially with Quentin Johnston sort of falling off, he has absolutely been Herbert's guy.
Yeah,
McConkey has made a difference. In fact, even did in that Chiefs game, he was the touchdown. Yeah,
he's the only one. Maybe Quentin Johnston can get back on track. I hope for his sake. I hope that he can. The Chargers still do have the number 1 scoring defense in the NFL, and they have not led the NFL in scoring defense since 1961, which was their first year in San Diego. Fun fact, they started here for 1 year and 1 year only, and then moved to San Diego. So they had 1960 in LA, then moved to San Diego, and then returned to LA with not a lot of fans. But they are getting a lot of wins now. They are 8-4. And if the playoffs were to start today, they don't. The Chargers would be in. You keep waiting for Kansas City to find a way to lose one of these. I just don't see it. I just don't.
I keep wanting to be, I keep chasing this idea of being right on certain things. It's really something I got to get better at, convincing myself the Cowboys are a good team, considering the Niners are in that as well. The Chargers are better than both the teams I just mentioned and likely are a playoff team. And yes, I said that and want it to continue to be true. They actually don't have to beat the Chiefs to be a playoff team. That's just fine. And as I said last week, you pointed it out, the Chargers are sort of beating the teams they are supposed to and losing to those that are just the teams that are the playoff teams. They were losing to all of them until they were able to pick Kirk off 4 times and beat the Falcons. And even then we were saying, are the Falcons a good team? We're not
No, they're
exactly
not.
sure.
The Falcons are 1-5 against good teams this year.
So,
They're
so
1-5 against teams with winning records.
and there you go. And that's a divisional win, I believe, against Tampa, if we're calling Tampa a good team as well. And the Eagles, that's their one. Actually, it's against the Eagles for the Falcons, that is. But that 10-0 lead a few weeks back, more than a few weeks back at this point, it evaporated, and the Chiefs did what they've done to nearly every opponent this season. It was simply being the better team in the fourth quarter, bleeding the clock on the Chargers. Chargers simply were not able to get the ball back from the Chiefs at the end of that game. And I believe it was even with 5 minutes to go. It was one of those where maybe they could go for it, maybe not. Oh, they're clearly going to get the ball back. And the Chiefs got the first downs they needed. And that was that. They simply bled it out. And that's what the Chiefs have done to most everybody. Chargers and Harbaugh are going to have a say. Eventually, this is going to be an awesome rivalry. I actually see this the same way you do. I just see this as, the Chiefs have had so many close ones. It feels like the Raiders was that shot. And again, in the division, obviously Denver lining up for what seems like a game-winning kick. Raiders, essentially, they never got the chance to line up for that game-winning kick, but they were doing that as well. And maybe the Chargers' best chance was being up 10-0, and now that's it. By the way, what did you think? I know you had said it, but in regards to that snap with Aiden O'Connell and what was happening against the Chiefs in regards to that play that ended
Aiden
that
O'Connell
game.
was clapping his hands, and he was trying to tell his team to hurry up. But when you clap your hands, that tells the guard to tell the center to snap the ball. The only issue is the official running in and clearly saying illegal procedure and blowing a whistle. My only issue if I were a Raider fan, and I'm not, thank God, would be, was the fumble recovery, did anyone from the Raiders not fall on the football because they heard a whistle? No one has suggested that. I don't like the mechanism, so to speak, of the mechanics, rather, of how the call went, but they did get it right.
And again, falling on the ball, you just always have to fall on the ball, because at the end, when those balls, this happens a lot when you see players letting go of the football right before the goal line, and then maybe no one gets it or goes out of bounds. They follow that ball to determine what's actually happening. If it's short, did someone actually recover the ball or not? And that's what happened at the end of the game. I believe it was Chris Jones who got the ball.
If I heard one Raider go, listen, I didn't fall on the ball because I heard a whistle, then maybe I'd have an argument, but I haven't heard that.
No, it hasn't at all. And one other thing, just running game wise for these two teams, J.K. Dobbins being out, feels like that's going to be a big difference here. And he's been such a special player for the Chargers. And also
last week. But yeah.
And remember, Pacheco back for the Chiefs and sort of sprinkling him back in, but Pacheco looked good last week for the Chiefs. And of all the things that didn't look good, Pacheco did. And so that could really be the difference here also.
I believe in the Chargers. I just don't know that I believe in the Chargers on the road in Kansas City. Both, as I like to say, can and really are true. As you see the standings, the Chargers right now, the 5 seed, and they would be in as a wild card. The teams that are, quote unquote, in the hunt in the AFC are not really in the hunt. They are there in a waiting room where if they win a few games, maybe they could jump in if somebody else falls flat.
The game to circle will be next week. Coming off the bye, Colts and Broncos play each other. So that at least makes it slightly interesting. That's about it.
Colts and Broncos. Broncos with a late bye, a week 14 bye. A couple of teams are on that bye, Ravens included. Latest bye in the NFL.